Hello, I'm Graham Horton and welcome to today's video. Now today's video is a result of a question that was posed by one of my subscribers, and it was around the FZ1000 Model 2, the FZ1002. Why couldn't he pair something like these simple Bluetooth triggers to the FZ1002 so that he could actually start and stop video recording using something as simple as this? Well, it's a little bit more involved than just the pairing of this Bluetooth shutter release that's normally available for your Android or iOS tablets or smartphones. There is a HTTP protocol that is being used by the camera to start and stop video recording or change settings or fire the shutter. So there is a definite protocol that has to be followed, and that's provided by either the Panasonic Lumix imaging app or, for the later cameras that support Bluetooth, Lumix Sync. Now, it's about 7 years ago since I first reviewed the image app for both iOS and Android devices, and at that point it was a very stable program and was very fit for purpose. But over the years there's been various additions to that program, such as geotagging and other operations, and the interface has become very buggy. In fact, I'd rather say it's been programmed by sixth form college students rather than professional programmers. I've wrote many enterprise programs and I would not have put my name to the app that's been released by Panasonic. If you look at some of the user comments in the App Store or Google Play Store, there's a lot of disgruntled users because of the functionality that's not provided by this particular app. It's buggy, it disconnects quite often, you get lost during the interface. So I want to go through, first of all, setting up the FZ1002 for Bluetooth shutter control, as that was the original query, and then we'll expand it to use something like the FZ80, which unfortunately doesn't have a 2.5mm remote input socket, so you can't use a wired release or a Wi-Fi controlled shutter release cable, etc. So you've got to use the image app to enable you to use start and stop video recording or remote shutter control over distance. It's for that reason that I'm going to read this review, because things have changed and the FZ8082 has come along, and a lot of new users might want to be using this image app and are getting stuck because of the bad interface. Now, it's true to say the Android interface is a lot more professional looking than the iOS one. In fact, the iOS one is very abysmal. Anyway, let's have a look first of all at setting up Bluetooth on the FZ1002. I'm going to use the Android operating system first so I can show you how a good interface sort of looks, and then we'll switch over to the iOS device to set up the Wi-Fi to control the camera, and you can see just how bad that interface really is. So you can see on my Android tablet, the Samsung Galaxy Tab 2, you can see I've downloaded the Panasonic image app, and I'm going to start that app by just touching the icon on the screen. That opens up the opening interface, and it's first of all trying to connect to a camera, but there's nothing there set up for it to connect to. So it's going to look for a QR code or a manual input. So first of all, we're just going to cancel that. Now I'm going to look at how we would set up the interface for Bluetooth. So I have the FZ1002 set up, and I'm just going to switch over to the double interface so I can actually see the FZ1002 and the Galaxy Tab S2. So the first thing we need to do is to go into our settings menu, and that's going to be the spanner icon on the left hand side there of the menu, and we're going to go over to Bluetooth. So we're going to go to Bluetooth, and Bluetooth is currently off. So what we need to do is to go into the set mode, then press menu set and go for pairing and press menu set. Now if we go into the app and I tap Bluetooth, and I'll just go full screen for a moment so we can see what I'm talking about, you can see there's absolutely no indication on the screen as to what you should do next. Very poor programming. There should be at least a highlight or some text to say put a tick in this little grey box on the top right hand side. So unless you do that, you've got no access to the rest of the setup. So we're going to press the tick into that little box, and you can see now that the camera to be registered has been picked up from Bluetooth, and it's the FZ1002 and Graham. The camera isn't registered yet because I haven't tapped the FZ1002 icon on the screen. So I'm just going to touch that. You can now see it's going to go off and it's going to pair up with the FZ1002. So it's searching for that device, and it says now it has to connect to Wi-Fi. So it's going to use an ad hoc direct connection to the FZ1002, not your network in the house. It will be a direct connection to the camera. So let's click connection. Why it has to go through Wi-Fi for this particular setup? If you're only going to use Bluetooth, I really don't know, but that's the way the interface is working, so we have to go along with that. Otherwise you can't set up the Bluetooth. So again, it's trying to connect to the SSID of the camera, and you can say registration is complete. So I will click the OK button, and you can now see on the interface that the camera has now come up, FZ1002-Graham. That is my name for that camera, and you can see we have now got over on the right hand side of the app, the shutter remote control has now become alive. So in fact, if I just press shutter control, it brings up the screen, which allows us to actuate the shutter. Now again, this user interface is rather crude. If we look at the iOS one later on, you'll find that the legend behind the circular button is actually circular. This is oval, so a bit of poor graphic programming there. So that would be my first complaint. So if you want to fire the shutter, you just tap the camera icon and the camera will fire. If you're going to use shutter priority and bulb mode, then if you want to lock the shutter, then of course you just drag this down to the lock position. The shutter will stay open in the bulb mode as long as you need it to be, and then you can just release the shutter by sliding back up. If you wanted to start and stop video recording, then you use the red button on the left hand side, tap to start recording, and tap to finish. And there's no indication on the tablet that you're actually recording. You can actually see the red dot on the back of the screen. So if I just switch back over to the interface, unfortunately it's now recording video, so there's no HDMI out. I forgot that you can't do that with the FZ1002, so I can't actually show you the input from the camera. It will stop recording. So that is how you would set up the Bluetooth control. And I want to go back to the main menu, and again there's no indication on the screen how you get back to the main menu. No back buttons, no text to tell you what to do. You have to go out of the app and use the interface on the tablet. So we're using the back button on the tablet to go back to the main screen. Poor programming. There should be a button on there to take you back, not rely on the operating system of the tablet to do that. So I'm just going to click the return button on the tablet, and that will bring us back to the main menu. So if you look across the bottom of the interface, you can see we've got the home icon, remote control icon, replay icon, and a menu. If we look at the iOS app later on, these are all so poorly implemented that you can't actually see them on the screen, and that's where a lot of users have fallen down. They actually can't see those icons to go to the next part of the program. So hopefully after seeing this video they'll know how to get there. So if we want to go to remote operation, it has to use Wi-Fi to do that. So if I click remote operation, it will say the camera is connected to Bluetooth, please wait. It's now going to try and connect over that Wi-Fi connection that it established earlier on. So again, it's got to release the Bluetooth and then find the SSID for the FZ1002, and then come back up with the interface that we need for remote control. Going to warn you that the lens may extend, so we just click yes. And now we're into the remote control, and the camera now you can see is outputting a signal over Wi-Fi back to the tablet. You can see around the actual app the things you can change. So for example, if you wanted to change white balance and you wanted to go to a sunny position, then you can set sunny or cloudy or whatever, or you can use auto white balance. And again, no indication how you come back to the main screen. You can tap around it, nothing happens. To get back to out of this interface, you've got to use the back button on your app again to come out. Again, very poor programming. If you wanted to set up ISO, again you can set your ISO for your camera, and again no escape back to any other control unless you touch the back button of your device. If you wanted a full screen view, then you can click that four-way cross there, and that will then expand the display to give you a full screen look of the complete operation. When it's in this mode, you do have a little bit more functionality, as the actual screen that this has been programmed in follows a little bit more better programming standards. So if I wanted to set ISO in this screen, touch the ISO, it brings up the scale across the bottom so I can set an ISO, and if you wait 2 seconds it goes back to where it should be. So that is proper intelligent programming. So you can set your white balance control, then again after 2 seconds it will disappear. So that's the best way. And again, if you wanted to take a stills mode picture, you press the camera icon, it takes a picture. If you wanted to start and stop video recording, you press the red button at the top and it will start recording. Stop recording, press the red button again and the camera will stop recording. Now across the bottom are the displayed values from the camera. So we've got an aperture of f2.9, a shutter speed of 100, and the exposure value compensation is 0, and the ISO is 125. We've got to use the palette on the right hand side if we wanted to change any of those values. So we can change the zoom control by using the up and down buttons on the telephoto and wide setting. If I wanted to change exposure value compensation, change the plus and minus, and it can go up to +5 with this particular camera, -5. So we'll just go up, say up a third. And then again, to go back, you've got to use the back button on the interface to take you out of that mode. The quick menu gives access to the aspect ratio, picture size, quality, your recording format, all the operations, the metering mode, etc., filter effects. So if you want to put on expressive, retro, old days, those sort of effects. And again, the only way back from that menu is using the back button on your device to get back. And again, from this menu, again, use the back control key on your tablet to go back to the main operating screen. If you wanted to look at your images, you can press the little triangle on the bottom of the screen, and that will take you into the viewing mode, and it will now show you all the images that have been loaded down onto your SD card within the camera. Now if you wanted to look at any one of those to check its quality, you can just tap on one of those. That's a video, so you could actually play that video to see what it would look like. And again, to come out of that, you need to use the back key. Let's look at an image. Let's have a look at this image. I've already rated it as a 5-star image, so you can actually look at it in decent quality mode. If you wanted to expand it, then you can use the pinch and zoom facility on your tablet to have a look at the image. If you wanted to save that image, that particular image, to your smartphone or tablet, you would click the icon at the bottom left hand side of the screen, and it will copy that file directly to your tablet. Again, to go back to the selection screen, you use the back control on the device. If you wanted to select multiple, then you've got to use the select operation, top right side of the screen. You can select all, or you can just go through individually and select the images or videos that you want to transfer. When you've done that, you can click the transfer to smartphone or tablet icon, and then it will copy those files over into your photos directory of your tablet or smartphone. So I've now copied the 5 files across to the tablet and completed. Now again, if you want to look at your tablet images, then top left hand side you can see a camera with a ring around it. If you touch that, it will change over to your SD card, which I've labeled Lumix. You can go to gallery, which is your images from your gallery. So these are the other ones that I've saved to this tablet. So again, you could select them to use them in things like collages, or again, you could go back to your SD card to look at those. Let's go back to the main menu by just pressing the home icon, bottom left hand side of the screen, the little house. So we've gone back to home. You've got the operation there of transfer image, so that will take you to that screen we just looked at. Photo collage used to work quite nicely, but now it looks as though it's broken for some reason. So for example, if I wanted a 3-way photo collage, it allows you to set 3 images. So I'm going to select those 3 pictures of the little girl there. We've selected 3 of 3, press execute. It saves the picture first of all and then makes the collage. So you can see now we've got the collage made over on the left hand side, but it doesn't give you an operation so you can actually position where you want the frame to be. Now that used to happen, I'm sure, in the original version, and again you don't get the operation to either expand or contract or position them on the screen. If you wanted to save them to your smartphone, then you press the icon on the bottom right hand side. Exit away from that. So that is basically the app running on an Android operation. Was fairly stable there, didn't have any glitches apart from the fact that the collage app doesn't work. It's knowing where to jump in when you're trying to set that up. What I want to do now is set up my Apple. I'm now going to set up my Apple iPad mini so we can look at the iOS implementation of this image app, and you can see that it's not as well polished as the Android one. In fact, we'll find ourselves getting quite lost in the interface. So let me set that up and I'll join you in a moment. So now I've set up my Apple iPad mini and we're going to run through the operation again on that device to show you the differences between the iOS and the Android operating system implementations. Let's start by saying we're going to go into setting up the Wi-Fi on the FZ1002. It will be exactly the same for the FZ8082, but I can't show you the HDMI output from the FZ8082. It's not allowed, so I'm having to use the FZ1002 to give you the same screenshots that you would get if you were setting up the FZ82. So on the desktop, I have downloaded the Panasonic image app from the App Store, and you can see we've got the icon there, image app. Just tap that and it brings up the familiar interface, and it says it's searching for a camera or looking for a QR code. So I'm going to close that, and we can now immediately see how poorly implemented this particular app is. You notice across the bottom of the screen you can see home, but that's all you can see. There is no indication that there are any more icons along that bottom row. They are there, but because of the choice of colors of the programmer to have this dark mode, they just aren't visible. So for example, I can barely see underneath there is an icon which says replay or something like that. So I'm just going to tap in that general area and it says playback. But again, now you've lost the home screen, you've lost the remote control screen, and you've lost the menu. Very poor. Let's go back to the home screen. So it's now brought up the playback options. And you can see the extent of the icons has now overwritten the icons on the bottom row. So again, we can't see that bottom row now because the icons are there. But I know over on the left hand side, possibly about there, will be the home button. There is the home button, but we can't see the remote control or the other menu items. Now we're going to set up Wi-Fi so we can have control over the camera over Wi-Fi. Remember, the FZ8082 will not have Bluetooth, so you can't set that up. So we're going to set up Wi-Fi. So I'm going to click the Wi-Fi icon. It says move to the Wi-Fi settings and then connect to an access point. So what does that mean? Well, if I click OK, it means that it goes to the settings menu of your smartphone or your tablet, and you need to set now, go to Wi-Fi, and you're now looking for the FZ8082 or FZ1000. But you have to start the Wi-Fi. So let's go back into the overlay, and I need to press menu set and go to Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi function, and it's disappeared. Because we're in video mode, so we should be able to see that on HDMI 2. Unfortunately, we've lost HDMI 2 because we're in the video mode. So I'm just having to disconnect HDMI a moment while I set the Wi-Fi function to be new connection, remote shooting and view, and it's showing you the SSID of 1002-Graham again. So I'm just going to plug the HDMI back in. And TV output is in progress, so we can see the back of the screen there. And now it has appeared in the list of devices available. You can see FZ1002 is available, so if I touch that, it will now connect to that SSID using Wi-Fi to do so. Now it's saying, if you've not already done so, launch the image app. Top left hand side of your tablet screen or your smartphone will be the back button to go into the image app. So let me just touch that. And that will bring us back to the image app, and let's just go directly to that. And you can see now that we've got control of the camera as there in blue with FZ1002-Graham. And you can see we've got remote operation, transfer image, snap movie and photo collage. But again, that bottom row of icons has disappeared. You've only got the home button. If you want to go into remote operation, obviously just touch remote. Warning, the lens may extend. And now you've got the live view as you had with the other app running on Android. And again, you've got the same functionality, ISO, set the ISO level that you want. Here on the screen, they have provided a back button. You can see that on the top of the screen there. It allows you to go back to the other parameters. So 5 out of 10 for this programmer. So you get a go back. Again, plus or minus exposure value compensation. We can add exposure value compensation, and again we can go back to the main menu. So that's been implemented in this case. We've got control of the zoom, of course, with the left and right. You can take pictures by just pressing the camera icon on the right hand side, so that it will take a picture. And you've got control of start and stop video again by using the red button. Bottom left hand side of the screen, you can see the duration, 5 seconds, etc. Touch that red icon on the top right hand side to cancel the recording. So you can see that we've got live control now has been illuminated, but we can't see where the home is, we can't see where the playback button is, and we certainly can't see where the menus are. But if you squint very hard or turn the brightness up very high on your tablet or smartphone, you might just be able to make out where those icons are. So I can just about make out playback is there, so I'm just going to touch in that general area. Now we're in playback. You can see that bottom array of buttons is now on a grey background, and that's how it should be for the whole of a program. So somewhere along the line someone's lost sight of the fact that that ribbon bar should be in grey or white or a contrasted colour rather than black, because you can't see those other icons against the black background. So again, you've got the menu the same as you had with the iOS. You've got the destination settings, live control settings, playback settings, etc. But if you notice now on the display, we've got a double overlay of the icon. Someone hasn't cleared the screen when they refreshed it to bring up the new menu. So you've got an overlay of 2 menu items. So again, a little bit of sloppy programming. And you notice now we haven't got a back button. So we can't go back. We'd have to go to the screen that we want, so playback for example. The same operation as with the Android device. If you wanted to look at a particular image, you just tap it, it will then bring up the image for you to look at. And with iOS, of course, as well as Android, you can pinch to zoom. Much more control on the Apple device than you have with the Android device, so you can really expand the view on the Apple device. If you wanted to save that, then you just use the icon bottom left hand side there to transfer the file across to your tablet. Again, to go back, there is a return button there, just about visible, top left hand side, poorly implemented again. That should be in its own little button with a surround or something so you can see it. Takes you back to that where you can multiple select. If you hit select, then it allows you to select multiple images to transfer or rate with a star rating, and then you can transfer them over to your tablet or smartphone like so. Again, if you wanted to look at the gallery in your own camera, go to camera roll, so now it'll bring up the images from the camera roll. Bit of a delay while it gets those, and that you can see the images that have been saved to the camera roll. Then again you could select them. Let's go back to the home screen and have a look at the implementation of the photo collage. So photo collage, the same templates as you have with Android. Let's take that 3 item again, and I'll select pictures from the SD card. So I'm just going to tap the icon there to allow me to go to the SD card. Slight delay while it's changing. So it's now changing over to the SD card on the tablet, changing to the SD card in the camera, and I'm going to select 3 images as we did before. 1, 2, 3, and execute. So it's saving the pictures as it does on the Android device. 3 pictures saved, and now it should transfer them over to the template. So you can see it's transferred them, but we don't get the facility to pinch and zoom and change the position of that particular image, nor do we get that operation on the other one. So again, we've lost that functionality that you get with a lot of the collage programs. And again, if you wanted to save it, then you could just save that to your camera roll. On the top you can see return or exit. So if we exit, it will take us back to the main menu. So there we are, that's the implementation of that on the Apple device. A little bit more sloppy programming on there, and I think that's where a lot of users are getting confused. Because those icons aren't visible on that bottom ribbon, you can't find how to move from one screen to another. You're reliant on either shutting your application down, stopping Wi-Fi, starting again. It is a real mess. Hope you found that useful, and of course if you're a new viewer, why not subscribe to this channel? You've got lots more information there on all Panasonic Lumix bridge cameras, from the FZ 200 all the way up to the 2500, a lot of the Canon EOS M range, and some of the Fuji X-T cameras there as well. So have a look at my photographic blog if you've not already seen that. I'll put a link in the video description below for you. So until then, thanks very much for watching. Please do take care, and I hope to see you all very, very soon. Goodbye for now.